We are super excited to be going to UKGE again this year, but what top 10 games have I got on my list to check out at the show?
Welcome to BoxedMeeples, I'm Julian and this is Libby, and together we are talking about UK Games Expo and specifically all the games that you are looking for this year.
Yes, I mean, of course, Julian's going to do his own list as well, but this video is
all
my
about you.
list. Yeah, all about me and what's on my radar. So, yeah, we were pretty bummed to miss last year's UKGE, but for the best reason.
We had a really good reason not to be there because we just got married and we were on our honeymoon.
Yes,
but yeah, it was
bad planning on our part
of
wedding timings. I think.
For this, it is the highlight, I think, of our year. This and maybe Essen and also Aircom, but there's something special about UKGE. It's getting now so big. Mm-hmm. I would say probably the fourth largest in the world, possibly now. Certainly getting up in the top five. It's the biggest event we obviously have.
Certainly the biggest one in the UK, that's for sure. No doubt about that. It's huge and it's very retail focused, and there are quite a few retailers that will launch games at the show, which is why it's so exciting to have top 10 ones that we're interested in checking out. So yeah, and some of my list may be available already, but I certainly haven't really checked it out, other than maybe I don't know anything particularly much about a lot of them. I'm just super excited to find out more, other than maybe one or two on the list.
That's kind of the beauty of these conventions, is you get to often talk to designers, you get to have hands-on and see if that actually is the game for you, or if you think, well, okay, I'm glad to check that out and save myself some money by not buying it in a shop. But let's dive into it.
Yes.
Is this in any order?
Not really, no.
Excellent, that's the best order.
Yeah. So I'm starting off this list with probably the ones I know the most about. For those that don't know, I am working for Paverson Games, so I do know a relatively decent amount about what's going to be going on.
I hope you do, otherwise you're not so great at your job.
Seeing as my job is community and events, I probably should know about UKGE as it's an event.
Yes, and you are organising it. Yeah, you should know a little thing about it.
But prior to working with them, we did content on Luthier and, backed that, and are super excited to have Luthier, that gorgeous, gorgeous game with Vincent Trey art about making and fixing and creating musical instruments, and there's so many amazing different sort of mechanisms within that, with the sort of blind placement and all of that fun stuff. And this is going to be the first time that Eve and I get to see that full finished version in person. So that is hugely exciting for us. Fingers crossed, if the boats arrive on time, there will be the deluxe version and the retail version there for the first time it's been really anywhere. It's
been an interesting journey with our kind of relationship with Luthier, particularly because I saw it when it was a really basic prototype.
Yeah, like a spreadsheet. Yeah.
And obviously then we got to see the prototype version, do coverage on that, and now you work for them. So yeah, it's kind of charted our kind of relationship with Paverson, which is, it's going to be nice to see that finally finished and fulfilled. And
Paverson do have a history of doing just that, showing those demo things really early, allowing people to play test really early and engaging that community into the growth of those games. And that's still going to be happening. So although Luthier is the one on the list, it's going to be great to then see the progress on Distilled Cocktails expansion. I mean, we love Distilled. And also the recently announced Class of 89 is going to be there. And there's also an unannounced game there on the Sunday as well. That people can come and try and help with that playtesting. So really exciting games there, but I sort of bundled those all into Luthier, even though it's basically should be labelled Paverson. So for number 2, I'm staying pretty close to home. For those of you that know, my previous job, I used to help distribute some of the Devir games into the UK, and this one is Transgalactica from Devir. So it's one of those ones that I do know a little bit more about, I would say. This game is obviously set in space, and you are doing both worker placement and engine building, which is a combination that we both really enjoy. The designer here is really well known. He's the designer of all of those fantastic tea games. So Teotihuacan, Zolkin, the Mayan calendar, you know, there's a whole array of them now. And obviously Transgalactica starts with a T as well. So become part of that universe. You're stretching across the galaxy, seeing how far you can go, vying for influence. I think there's quite a lot of interaction between the players, although I've never played or seen much about this game. But it does really intrigue me. I mean, his heritage as a designer is someone we've really enjoyed a lot of those games. And that sort of spacey feeling with a lot of player interaction and engine building as well sounds right up my street. So I'm very excited to check that one out. Next up from me is from Leader Games, and it's the Ahoy expansions. Now, we talk about Root a hell of a lot.
We do, yes. we kind of like Root. I don't know if that's ever been made clear. Yeah,
I mean, it's Julian's favourite game. It's in my top 10 as well. But we do enjoy, most, if not all of the games that come from Leader Games. They just seem to hit those notes for us. And Ahoy being one of them. I find it's an easier one to table sometimes than Root, especially depending on the player count.
I think it's slightly more accessible. Yes, for newer players. A bit less, I was going to say a bit less cutthroat, but no, it's more cutlasses than cutthroat.
And there's 2 expansions here. So the first of those expansions is Rivals and Renegades, and you have the Blackfish Brigade and the Shellfire Rebellion, and these can sort of basically switch out for some of those base ones in the game, give you a lot more variety.
You still get those core kind of factions, but you're just swapping those out. So it kind of keeps a similar mechanics, but has new twists on them.
And then the second expansion is Fang and Fortune. So you're adding Fangs in with the Leviathan, a beast who's growing and growing, destroying everything in its path, and some jolly pirates are coming into the game as well. And these you can switch out for the smuggler in the base game. And so then with these 2 from one expansion, 2 from this expansion, you can then mix and match various different things the same way you can in Root, really, with all those different faction mix and matches, which is really going to add so much variety to Ahoy and lots of different combinations to play with. So it keeps things really interesting and keeps things, I don't know, really mixing things up on the board. Root always does that, so my expectations are pretty high from
I think that's why I'm so excited. I mean, we do play Root an awful lot less so Ahoy, but that's because we at the moment only have the base game. So having those options to change things in there is going to rejuvenate our Infusion for and just keep it mixed up and different each time we play it.
Yeah, very excited for that. The next game on my list is one that was actually on my list for Essen as well. And it's also going to be at UKGE for demoing. I think it's going to release towards the end of this year, potentially even just before Christmas. And that is Revenant from Mindclash. So we really wanted to check this out at Essen, but unfortunately, we were, well, fortunately for us, but we were busy looking at Ironwood and having an interview with the designer of that. So our time was a little bit limited on that stand, and we didn't really get much chance to check Revenant out, which was obviously on the to-do list. But now it can come onto the to-do list for UKGE. So this is another spacey game set in the Voidfall universe, but it's a standalone game, and you are playing the admirals of the fleet, and you are trying to coordinate the safe fleeing out whilst negotiating different allegiances on your way. You're definitely wanting to defend all of your ships the best. So yeah, I'm really intrigued. It's got worker placement in it, of course. That's something that we normally enjoy. And the theme and design just looks incredible. I have spoken about it a reasonable amount on my Essen video. So if you did see that, then just as excited as I was then. So Lord of the Rings, Fate of the Fellowship is probably the game I know the least amount. I know that it's got Lord of the Rings theme.
It does.
I know that it has got that sort of pandemic-y co-op, deal with this problem together kind of system to it. We have really enjoyed things like the Clone Wars, pandemic stuff that really kind of takes that system and does it in a slightly different way. So having a Lord of the Rings theme, which is a theme that we do enjoy, means this is one that I'd like to check out and see what it's doing, what fresh and new things it's bringing to the space. But there's not a lot. There's not a lot
to know about it at the moment. It's all been kind of cloak and daggers.
Crafting the Kosmos is another spacey game that I'm super interested in, and this one you're actually building out the universe, building the cosmos, of course, and you are manipulating gravity and time. You're playing very powerful cards and just probably getting in each other's way in terms of what you need for those different planets as to who's doing best. As don't know much about it yet, I know a lot of people have been playing it on BGA, and I think it might have released already, but I haven't checked that. But I really do want to check it out at UKGE and hopefully maybe try and get a demo play or something. It looks right up my street in terms of really kind of puzzling out how to best play your cards, how to move things about, to manipulate the cosmos. I mean, sounds pretty like godlike powers there, doesn't it?
And I think this is coming from Office Dog.
It is.
Who recently did, obviously, with a gold. Now, if they're taking the production quality of that game into a new direction, that's going to be a winner, because with a gold looks incredible on the table. Exactly,
yeah. So, I mean, just a lot of big ticks there for me to definitely want to have a close look at that one. Next up from me is Fathom. Now, it's a game that you sent me the box art and we're like, you might like this.
Any box that's 50% or more water is going to be a game you like. That was my logic.
But looking into it, it is one that I do want to check out. I mean, from what I've read about it, it seems like you're doing that kind of tile placement that we know and love, trying to get groups of the right kind of things or certain things on their own, because that's their habitat they live better at. We're obviously Fathom, we're based in the sea, we're underwater. But what seems different about this is that some of the pictures seem to have that kind of like submarine radar kind of round disc of zoning what you're finding. And I think that you're choosing what to find under the water and then potentially leaving something valuable for an opponent and what you're taking out. So I think that the puzzling will do things in a slightly different way, and I'm really intrigued as to how that's done and how the sort of radar disc is going to work and how you're then collecting those into your kind of fishy environment. But sounds really interesting. Sounds like it could be a nice weeknight game potentially for us, so I definitely want to check that one out.
Sounds intriguing.
I have heard so many fun things about Molly House, so many people kind of looking forward to it, anticipating it on their lists. It sounds super fun. You're set in the sort of 1720s, early 18th century in London, and we are a queer community holding masquerades and fun balls and doing all sorts of amazing fun things within that community. But there is some bluffing to be had. There is some people who may not be who they say they are. So you really are trying to keep an eye out for those constables who might be wanting to take down your community. So it does sound like a really sort of fun group game, and I would definitely like to see more of that.
I think it's fantastic, people exploring these kind of themes. Obviously it's not something you normally see in a board game, but we often talk about how variety and different tastes can be catered for by different games, and I think it's fantastic that such a big game is embracing that.
Kinfire Council is going to be at UKGE to have a look at. Now, this is one of many in that sort of Kinfire series, that world, which I sort of haven't had a chance to look into any of them as yet, and I've been wanting to for a long time. So seeing as this one is coming, and I think that this one is more competitive than its predecessors. Some of those are more cooperative style game, whereas this is very political. You're trying to sort of build up the city, but politics is definitely front and foremost of in your mind, I think, and where your allegiances lie will really make a difference into this game. So I want to basically explore this Kinfire world, but for the purposes of this list, this is probably the one that I'll look at first. A, because it is competitive and we've got quite a few cooperative games there, but B, because it's there. Highlighted to see at the show, but don't be surprised if I come back with more.
The whole series
of the series, yes, yeah, because it is a world that I have engaged with previously in sort of books and things like that. So yeah, it would be interested to explore some more. Right, and last up on my list is one that again I do know a reasonable amount about. I have played it once and did manage to win.
Oh, really?
And this is Australis. It's coming from Kosmos, and it's a beautiful board, beautiful game set on the Australian Great Barrier Reef. So you've got these gorgeous little turtles, which I think are nice components coming from Kosmos.
Yes,
now. Yeah. And those turtles are swimming down the reef. You're placing out corals in the coral gardens, but essentially you're engine building with some cards. Your dice collection is important because there's dice battles at the end of this round. So there's loads of different types of gaming mechanics mixing in this game together in a kind of easy entry-level family version that's stepping stones into many different gaming styles.
Right, okay.
Which I thought it came together really nice. It's the kind of game that we would enjoy playing on a weeknight, but potentially the girls would engage with as well. And it just looks beautiful.
Yeah, I got to see it a little bit at Aircon, so I'm keen to kind of get how actually a turn to play it.
Yeah,
because I had a kind of demo, a talk through of it.
Yeah,
and yeah, there's quite a lot of buzz about it at Aircon, so I hope that carries over into UKGE.
Yeah, I think it's a nice little sort of all rounder. Hits that sort of mid ground, sort of entry plus level, and it just looks so pretty, and again, it's underwater, isn't it? So
watery, pretty games.
Yeah, look at that turtle, isn't he cute? So that's my 10 that I'm hoping desperately to check out at the show. I will be working most of the show, so you will find me on the Paverson game stand pretty much all of the time. But when I do get to be free, then, and also for the press night, then these are some of the things that I am going to be wanting to check out. Of course, if you're wanting to hear Julian's 10 games, we've got 10 more games coming up.
Pick 10 different ones, so there won't be any overlap. But let us know what games you're looking forward to this year's UK Games Expo. If you're going, of course, or if you've just seen announced and you're like, wish I could find out more, I wish I could be there to find out more. Yeah, do let us know in the comments down below. And as always, we're going to be doing quite a lot of UKGE content this year. We're going to try our best to do overnight vlogs again. Can't promise that because we have other commitments now we have to be involved with, but if there's a way of keeping those coming out regularly while we're there, we'll certainly be trying to do that. Yeah, so do make sure that you are subscribed to the channel and maybe ring that bell if you're looking for more UKGE coverage, because we will have as much as we possibly can coming your way. And any games that are already available, do check out your friendly local game store to buy those. Ours, of course, is Chaos Cards right here in the southeast of England, but they have a fantastic website, so if you're buying from there, as always, use the discount code in the description to save yourself some money at the checkout. Yeah, and they will be at the show, so you can always visit their stand there, but our discount code will not work in person. Just so you know. But as always, thanks so much for watching. Bye.